Hi, in this episode of Blue Sky Bonsai, I'm going to do some winter pruning on this triple trunk elm that I air layered a couple of years ago. My name's Dave and you're watching Blue Sky Bonsai. Enjoy the video. I air layered this from the middle of a hedge and the three trunks come from one point. This video is not about air layering, but I wanted to show a bit of the history behind this triple trunk elm. I found it growing in the middle of a hedge behind some iron railings. So it was a bit difficult to access, but I managed to get the air layer on there. In retrospect, I should have done the layer a bit higher, but we'll get onto that. By April of that year, it had really leafed out very nicely, and by the end of May, it had grown a huge load of very healthy looking roots. So in June, I took the plunge and chopped the trunk below the air layer. And to be honest, I probably left it too late because on unwrapping the air layer I found that some of the roots had rotted in that layer. But English elms are super resilient, so I was able just to snip back some of those roots. I potted it up and left it to grow for a year and a half. When I was posting some photos of it online, somebody said, "This'll never make a good bonsai," and to be honest, I don't really care. I love it. I think it will make a good bonsai in my eyes, and I guess that's what counts. So let's take a look at some of the characteristics that are considered to make a good triple trunk bonsai. Now keep in mind that these are just guidelines and not hard and fast rules, and as you'll see, my elm doesn't really hit the mark on any of them. Firstly, all three trunks should be emerging from the root base, so that they really look like trunks and not just fat branches. Secondly, there should be variation between the three trunks, so they should be three different heights. They should divide at three different angles. The three trunks should not form one straight line, and the reason for that is that you want to have the three trunks at different viewing distances from the front view. And the fifth guideline, you want the three trunks to have three different diameters, again showing some variation between the trunks. So let's have a look at my air layered English elm to see how it's doing on those characteristics. Are all the trunks emerging from the root base? No, they're not, because I air layered it too low down. Do the three trunks have three different heights? No, the two side branches are about the same height as each other. Are the three trunks emerging at three different angles? Yes, a result. I'll take that, even though I'm not happy with the planting angle. Do the trunks all emerge at different distances from the front view? Not really, although the trunks do have some good movement further up. And do the three trunks have different diameters? No, they're all about the same thickness, so on paper it's not looking so great. Luckily though, in real life it does look pretty good, and there are things we can do to remedy some of these points. To make the trunks emerge from the root base, I can bring the root base up by doing a ground layer, which I plan to do in spring. I'm going to do some pruning to adjust the trunk heights. I can never really change where the trunks emerge from the root base. But over time I can try to grow it so that the three trunks develop with three different thicknesses. I've had to put quite a lot of wires and a cork here to try and push the trunks apart, because when I first air layered it, they were really, these two here were too close together, and kind of want them to be growing outwards a bit more. The other thing here, I get the feeling it's kind of leaning over this way, and I think it probably would look better to be something like that. We'll have to get the angle exactly right in a future repotting. So let's just get a rock and put it in the right way so that it's kind of leaning over. See how this looks like this? I'd say pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to get my tools. Need to start pruning this one down. I really like all the little curves, all the ducking and diving of the trunks. All three of the trunks have got a nice lot of movement in them, and I think it's worth conserving that. So what I'm going to try at least this year is to cut it down to here, this third trunk, to this level. So it's just going up and then popping over to the side here. And I think that's right for how the overall look of the triple trunk should be. So as you can see, there really are quite a few defects if I'm to consider this a decent triple trunk bonsai. But some of those defects we can work on. So clearly the central trunk I can just fatten up over the next 5 years by continually pruning these trunks down and just letting this one grow wild. Let a few sacrifice branches grow out of this one. And another one, clearly the roots need to be coming out of this base just here. And to do that, this spring I'm planning to do a ground layer around here. In the meantime, let's just pop it up on here. Now the trunk heights, I've got clearly the central trunk is the tallest. When we lean this up at an angle that I'm happy with, I find that these two trunks are the same height as each other, and I'm not very happy about this top very straight bit here. So I'm going to do another trunk chop just here and really leave an ugly stub for this bit. And in the future we'll get a new canopy of this mini trunk here. So we've got a nice little bit of movement in the lower part of the trunk, and just here it's just too straight. So I'm going to get my pruners and leave an ugly stub just about here. And that makes this trunk a lot lower. Let's do a few bits of final work here. Now as a trunk, I don't need to fatten this one up at all, so I can keep this really quite low. This will be the mid-size one, and obviously the central one, the dominant one. I think also I'm going to get rid of this inward branch here. Let's see if you can see that from that side. This branch here is kind of just pointing in towards the central trunk a little bit. It's maybe not necessary because I've got a smaller trunk just here. So let's come in there and leave a little stub, tidy it up next year. And now, let's put it into the sun a bit more. Now I'm happy with it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to Blue Sky Bonsai and hit that thumbs up button to tell YouTube you liked it. See you in the next video. Perfect.